Before we begin, if this story moves you, please like, comment, and subscribe. These are real moments, and they deserve to be heard. It was a humid summer morning in 2025. Inside the sleek Manhattan studio of The View, the air buzzed with laughter, coffee, and flashing stage lights. Joy Behar, dressed in a striking red blazer, grinned as she turned to her special guest, Elon Musk. "Tell me something, Elon," she said with a smirk, glancing toward the audience. "You want to go to Mars? But do you even believe in God?" The audience erupted in laughter. Some looked amused, others uneasy. A woman in the second row whispered, "That was harsh," pulling out her phone to film. Elon shifted slightly, calm, composed. "In matters of faith, Joy, I believe privacy is respect," he said softly, hands resting on his lap. Joy pushed again. "Oh, come on. Don't tell me you're searching for God in space." The joke bounced across the room, but this time, the laughter died. A teen in the back frowned. An older man shook his head. The mood shifted, just slightly. Elon inhaled deeply, then smiled. "Joy," he said with quiet resolve, "would you let me share something?" He reached for a tablet beside him. What came next wasn't a clapback. It wasn't even a defense. It was something no one expected. And it would silence an entire studio. The studio fell silent as Elon tapped the screen. A soft image appeared behind him, an old photo, faded at the edges. A woman sat in a modest kitchen, hands clasped in prayer. Her eyes were closed. In the background, a young boy sat on the floor, tinkering with wires and broken toys. "That's my mother, May," Elon began, his voice low. "She didn't have much, but she had faith." Joy blinked, surprised. "My mom worked 3 jobs. At night, she prayed, not for money or success, but for me to believe in something bigger than fear, bigger than loneliness." He paused. "I wasn't the easiest kid. I didn't fit in. I was obsessed with science when other kids were playing soccer. I'd get bullied. But at home, every night, I'd hear my mom whisper from the kitchen." He turned to the audience. "Please, let him find where he belongs. Let him build what the world doesn't see yet." The screen faded into black. "And now," Elon said, "every rocket I launch, I remember that kitchen, that voice, that prayer." Several audience members wiped away tears. Joy leaned back, visibly shaken. I didn't know." Elon offered a gentle smile. "You don't have to believe what I believe, Joy, but don't mock the thing that kept me alive." The audience didn't clap. They couldn't. They were holding their breath. One voice from the crowd whispered, "He didn't answer her with words. He answered with Mars." The lights dimmed slightly in the studio, almost unintentionally. No one spoke. Even the camera crew moved slower, quieter, as if interrupting this moment would be a sin. Elon looked up from the tablet. "You know," he said, voice calm, "faith doesn't always look like hymns or temples or scripture. Sometimes it looks like getting back up when everything tells you not to." He turned to the audience. "When I first launched SpaceX, the first 3 rockets exploded. The world laughed. Investors walked away. Reporters mocked me. And I stood on an empty launch pad one night, completely alone." His fingers tapped lightly on the armrest. Not out of nerves, out of memory. There were no answers, no signs, just silence. He paused, eyes scanning the silent crowd. But sometimes, silence is the answer. It's a space to ask yourself, do you still believe, even if no one else does? One woman in the third row sniffled. And in that silence, I remembered my mother's voice. Not her words, but her certainty. Elon leaned forward slightly, not to perform, but to connect. That's what kept me going, not money, not fame. Just the memory of someone who believed I had purpose, before I proved anything. A long pause. Joy Behar, usually sharp-tongued, stared at the floor. Finally, she whispered, "I didn't think of it that way." Elon simply nodded. Faith is quiet, Joy, but it's louder than mockery. The studio remained still, but something had changed. The man they came to tease had taught them something sacred. The moment Elon finished speaking, there was no applause. Only breathless stillness. And then, slowly, someone in the back began to clap. 1, 2, then the whole audience joined in. But it wasn't loud, it wasn't showy, it was respectful. Backstage, a junior producer wiped her eyes and whispered to the control room, "Get this online, now." Within minutes, the clip was posted on the show's official X, formerly Twitter, page. Captioned, "Elon Musk responds to being mocked for his faith. With grace, must watch." In under an hour, it had 1.2 million views. Then 10 million. Comments poured in. I was never a Musk fan, but this was powerful. Reminded me of my mom's prayers. Thank you, Elon. You don't have to believe in the same God to respect someone's faith. But one reply stood out, and it went just as viral. At Hope for Tomorrow. He didn't fight back. He just spoke truth. That's what real strength looks like. Elon sat in his hotel room that evening, reading quietly. He wasn't smiling. He wasn't celebrating. He was still. His assistant peeked in. "Do you want to do a follow-up interview?" Elon shook his head gently. "No, I said what needed to be said." Outside, a young man walked past the window, holding his phone, replaying the clip. Behind him, a city bus showed a giant ad for Mars colonization. And for the first time in a long time, Elon Musk trended online not for technology, but for his humanity. 2 days after the interview aired, a thick envelope arrived at Elon's desk. No return address. The handwriting was uneven, almost trembling. His assistant, puzzled, placed it carefully beside his coffee. Elon stared at it for a moment. He hadn't seen handwriting like that in decades. When he opened it, a single photo slipped out. A church in Johannesburg. Small, cracked windows. And in front, 3 little boys sitting on worn stone steps. He recognized one of them, himself, age 7. Taped to the back of the photo was a yellowed note. "You don't remember me, but I remember you, Elon. When you were bullied at school, you'd sometimes sneak into our Sunday services. You never said a word, but you listened. And once, you left a little robot behind, with your name scratched on it. We kept it. We called it the Silent Angel. Now I see you on TV, and I know your silence was never empty." Tears welled up in Elon's eyes. He remembered the robot, a clunky, misshapen thing he'd built out of scrap metal and hope. He thought it had been thrown away, forgotten, but someone had remembered. That evening, he walked into the innovation lab at Tesla and told his team, "I want to fund a program for schools without resources, for kids who don't fit in." He paused. "I want to build 1,000 silent angels." 6 months later, a stage was built on the front steps of that same little church in Johannesburg. The windows had been repaired, fresh paint, new benches, and beside the door, a plaque in brushed silver, Silent Angel Initiative, founded by Elon Musk. Elon stood before a crowd of children, teachers, and families. Some recognized him as the billionaire, but most simply knew him as the boy who once listened in silence. He didn't bring security. No suits, no cameras, just a single robot replica in his hands, built exactly like the one he once left behind. He placed it on a small pedestal and spoke softly. "This little robot isn't just metal and wires. It's proof that even if you feel invisible, you can still leave a mark." The crowd leaned in. A lot of people think belief is loud, but real faith? It's what you build when no one's watching. It's what you carry when the world tells you you're alone. He looked up at the sky, then smiled. "My mother prayed for me when I didn't believe in anything. And today, I believe in you, the ones no one sees yet." The audience rose in applause, not because he was famous, but because he understood. Back in the US, the clip of that moment trended globally, but Elon didn't care. He sat in a quiet corner of the church, surrounded by kids assembling their first robots. One child tugged his sleeve and whispered, "Mr. Musk, do you think we can go to Mars too?" Elon smiled, eyes glistening. "If you can dream in silence, perhaps you can build anything."
If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and share. Subscribe for more inspiring stories.